All right, my babies. So we've gotten to an interesting point in this book, which is basically the video my cousin wrote for me. Notice it's completely different handwriting. She told me not to read it until I reach it, and I haven't. I literally, it's like half this book on half and half another book away. So I've done about like 100 something videos before this one. Now we are here. So today's video is surrender doesn't mean blind passivity. It's the gateway to gain complete freedom to ask anything. Inspiring the master with true sincerity. Impressing the master with true sincerity. Uh, Let me read it again. And I'm going to read it again for one specific reason. It's because whenever we say surrender, we're surrendering to what, who, right? We're surrendering to something. So surrender doesn't mean blind passivity. And the minute we feel, the minute I think of surrender, I think of tyranny. And it's because we're correlating this word we surrender with defeat. And I don't know if anyone's read The Art of War, but surrender is a strategy, retreat is a strategy. Everything is basically could be perceived as action. Everything. I can think of, fuck man, chilling, just hanging out doing jack shit is very much an active effort. Just like sitting there and doing nothing is an active effort. Truly. Try to sit for like 20 minutes without thinking you want to take your phone, you want to move, you want to look at something else. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. We created the world in a way that's kind of like calling for us from every single angle. It's just right now, it just reminded me of a time where I said like this, the sun basically paints the truth in its own colors, whilst the moon sheds light on the truth. The moon is honest, it just sheds light, while the sun kind of like paints it, allows us to kind of like see in different colors, allows us to create, allows our reality to impress on what we see and to absorb it differently. Or if you look at the world at night, it's kind of like it's all your opinions kind of like go away. It's just that serenity, the honesty behind it. Yeah. So to repeat, surrender doesn't mean blind passivity. And most of the time when we kind of like agree to I don't want to say give up, but when we're trying to force something and then we step back as like, okay, I don't want to do it anymore. That approach, specifically from my perspective, is is not really a letting go, but it's more like yeah, so it's give up. That word, give up. I read it recently. It's like a person is looking at somebody they love, a family member, and they literally were like, the family member was, I can never be disappointed in you because being disappointed means I have given up on you. And it hit me hard because I very much use the word disappointed on myself, but I don't use it on others. And that disappointment is basically a bit of is that is that giving up, that that passivity. Like I don't fucking care anymore. But the truth is, I do care. Like nobody who cares says I don't fucking care anymore, right? Nobody who not caring about something is not an emotion. It's basically like what's the opposite of indifference? When you truly don't care about something, you can't express it with emotion. It basically is not an expression. Indifference is not an expression. It's like, I don't know what to say. It's not doing anything for me. So this is kind of like an emotional thing that this whatever I read touched. It's the gateway to gain complete freedom to ask anything. Get it? When you're surrendering, that means you're accepting a different authority. Be it God. Personally, I think God resides within us, but like anytime we're looking up, we're looking at the universe, everything that is encompassed by kind of like that energy, the cosmic energy. And God is the unity, basically, right? And we're all kind of like fragments expressing ourselves. Like we're all, it's like the Christians say that. It's just like we each human being is an expression of like the God within. And I don't know if they teach it, but that's basically what I took from what Jesus said when they were like, God is within me, God is within you. Each one of us is that. But the idea is like when you're surrendering, you're kind of like accepting that you being in charge is not really working. So you're giving charge to something else. And it's the gateway to gain complete freedom to ask anything. It's like, no, now that I'm no longer in charge, guide me, tell me what to do. It could be biased, right? It doesn't really matter. Like the idea is in the new environment where you are no longer in charge, because it's a completely new environment. When you were in charge, it was an environment, and if it was working, then you would have stayed in charge. But when you realize it's not working, you kind of surrender and you ask whoever you surrendered to or whatever you surrendered to. Again, like it's just letting go of you being in charge gives you the opportunity to ask yourself where you went wrong. If you are persistent in handling things, you're still handling them from a a perception or a perspective or an angle or an existence that basically is not really succeeding. So that surrender, maybe it's momentarily, right? Like if you take a step back, that's what meditation does, because you're no longer ingrained in everything. Then when you're taking a step back, you're kind of like letting everything do its thing, which is you kind of surrendering. And then we come back into your awareness. What you're doing is you're looking at the world and you're like, huh, okay. So where was I? Where was I? And how does it look like now? And what am I going to do for the goal that I had in mind? Or is it still irrelevant fucking goal? All of this good stuff. So it gives you that like space for you to be like, no, all right, what would I do next? Just asking these questions. Here, I kind of like dive into my own spirituality because when you're surrendering to a new master. And the way I see it is myself that was not succeeding accepted that it wasn't succeeding and surrendered to whatever new self that's going to make it work. Because ultimately, let's take money for example. I don't have $1 million right now. It's purely because the way I am right now cannot make $1 million. So my goal is not to make $1 million, is to be the person that makes $1 million, that's able to make $1 million, which means I can produce $1 million anytime I want because I am that person. So that shift effectively means you're surrendering to that self. You're surrendering your energy of now to the energy of that. You're allowing yourself to align to that peace, to the master that's going to take charge differently than how you are right now. Funny enough, it's the same you because you are always changing. But the I in you, like I am, which is the same intention, the same flow, it's the point where the energy, your decision making process, maybe not decision making process, your sense of direction is always, and forever there. That is basically the fragment of the universe where God kind of like reveals himself or herself. That is it. It never changes. But you are always consistently changing. You either accept it and allow for that change to happen. Some change happens instantaneously. Some change needs like a couple of months. Some change needs years. It doesn't fucking matter. It depends on the scale that you're measuring, right? If you're working on something from day to day, then day to day you're changing. But once you finally understand that that's a big shift that you kind of go like, oh, changed. That's one change that encompasses a million small ones, maybe. So impressing the master, impressing or inspiring. I don't know how it's written. Look at it. Because that's basically true sincerity, and that's what got to me. That's what made me kind of like look differently. Because what I'm thinking about is many occasions where my dad told me to do something, and I was like, all right, and I did it, and I did it without actually putting any point of focus on it. I didn't care what the outcome was. I just wanted to look him in the face, be like, I'm done. Do you want anything else? That's not me accepting his authority. That's not me accepting his position in mind. It's not. But truly surrendering without blind passivity. Again, blind passivity is key here because, like, blindly passive, what do you want me to do that? Okay, where is my intention? I'm just kind of like moving any way you want without actually like listening and taking into heart what you want. And so ultimately, that shift between letting go of yourself of now and showing that sincerity to yourself of the future, or the self that actually makes the future happen because there is no future. Your present is always consistent. The idea is your present right now doesn't have things that you kind of like are working towards. So you let go for that self in the future. Oh, it's fucking amazing. I love you guys. Bye. It's a video.